Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast urging you to let it go and don't look back. With nationally acclaimed professional organizer Christine Stone and self-proclaimed hot damn mess radio and TV personality Eden Kendall.
Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered. I'm Eden, or should I say I'm an Eden.
And I'm a Christine.
You are a Christine, and you
Yes.
actually are Christine. And the reason I say that is because over the last dozen episodes, we've been hearing from you guys, and you're saying things like, I'm an Eden, or I'm a Christine. And today's episode will give you everything you need to make that determination. And I'll get to that in just a second as we talk travel. You just took a trip, and at the time of this recording, things are going very well for your horny frogs, your horny toads.
Them that.
Who are they? Who are you? Who are you a fan of?
I am a TCU horn frog. I graduated in 1984 from Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, Texas, and we have never, ever played this well ever. So I went there when there was not a winning team. We never experienced winning. We'd go to the games, we'd cheer, but we never won. So for them to be ranked number 4 and 9-0 and being married to a Gator and sitting next to a Gator, I have every right to brag now. So go TCU, keep winning, and I am going to go to a playoff game if they win. So I'm excited.
Okay, do you have like a special song or chant? Like I could say, it's great to be a Florida. Do you have like, it's great to be a horny?
No. Riff Ram, Bazoo, give 'em hell, TCU.
Woo, woo, woo. And I am TCU fan adjacent because you're in my life. I now have a vested interest in wanting to see them succeed unless they ever play the Gators. Which,
Right.
You know.
One year it was, believe it or not, discussed. But of course, then we didn't keep winning and the Gators did. So, but this may be our year. So anyway, I went to travel to go to my TCU homecoming, which I hadn't done in 3 years due to COVID. So I meet with sorority sisters, and I was a little nervous because I haven't traveled. And that was my first experience. So you and I discussed how different we travel.
So I sent this, we have a special guest for today. We have travel influencer Amy West. She goes and does and is all of these things, and she does it with such finesse, and she can pack, her claim to fame is no matter where you send her, she can go in one bag.
I know.
And this is what I sent to her just to let her know what she was about to be dealing with, because we both know her. And I said, Christine never brings a carry-on. That's interesting.
Ever.
I
never
try to never check a bag. That's me. I hardly ever check a bag unless it's maybe a week or longer. Let's see. You pack at least a couple of days, maybe a week or more early. I wait until the very, very last minute.
Oh, no. I lay everything out. I have a bench in my closet. I lay out each day probably 4 to 5 days before my trip is even coming. And then, of course, I'll change things. I'll add things. But my husband even makes fun of me. He's like, we're not leaving for like 5 or 6 days. That is just how I've always done it. I think that's part of being an organizer. You want to make sure you don't forget something, that everything is there. I make lists if I do feel like I need to go pick something up. So it's the organizer in me.
And my philosophy is if I needed it to get ready to go on the trip that morning, then it goes in the suitcase. You've got a special set of travel things that you use,
yes.
Your toiletries. So the question to you is, are you an Eden, or are you a Christine, or are you, and please welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered, an Amy West? If your ears were burning, Christine and I were talking about you behind your back, not in front of your face, about, we were mentioning our differences and how you could go just about anywhere for any length of time and pack just one suitcase if that were necessary for you to do. Do you still stand by that?
Yes, absolutely. I've gone places for 2 to 3 weeks only on a carry-on. And, I'm not a low maintenance looking gal. So most people, when they learn that about me, they're like, what? How can you do a carry-on only? And it really just comes down to being able to edit your life, which Chris, you probably know a thing or two about that.
Well, I have to tell you, though, that's one of the things I was telling Eden. I have never packed a carry-on ever, never. And I don't think I ever could. Not because I never know where I'm really going, what we're doing. I always stick with neutrals, but I still don't think I have the art to pack in a carry-on. My husband does.
You're basing that on the size, the carry-on size, but also you don't like to carry on.
I don't like anything about it. I'm going to be honest. Okay. I really don't.
Okay.
I don't. But I also, if I have a stop, I don't like worrying that my luggage is going to get lost. So I prefer if it's nonstop because I don't have the worry. But you can't fly everywhere out of here nonstop.
So Amy, talk to us about what's in that carry-on. Give us a great example. Did you do that for your Croatia trip?
Yeah. Actually, we did carry on only for Croatia. I did break a few of my rules. And if you saw any of my content from Croatia, you know that I had outfit after outfit after outfit for that trip. We packed for content. So sometimes when we're just traveling on our own, we're packing for our own personal use. I can get away with wearing stuff more than one time. But when we're packing for content, it's like, oh, here's a new picture with a new outfit at a new place. So the only rule that I broke in this one was that my husband actually took a couple pair of my shoes. But yeah, and so he took on his back, but we were both carry on. And actually, it's interesting that you say you don't like, the process of carrying on, because we actually use our little rolly bags as a place to put our little personal bag. So if you have a tote or a backpack, I like being able to place that on the carry-on so that I have less that I'm actually packing on my back or on my person. But I always have 3 bags. One is the carry-on bag. One is my personal bag, like a tote or a backpack. And the third is a little crossbody bag. And the crossbody bag can fit in your personal bag. So you can downsize it to just 2 bags. Occasionally, they will force check it anyways.
I was going to say yep.
Yeah. Then I get to personally carry that around. I mean, in these day and age, you can have, what are the little like Apple trackers? Like you can get the little trackers and put it on your bag so you know if it's got on your plane or not. They're pretty good about like letting you know, oh, your bag made it on this
stop
trip.
everything.
But it took me.
Stop everything. I never thought to do that. Wait, you're saying those little Apple tags, you can put it on your bag and then it's going where you're going.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh,
wow.
Amy West.
You could GPS track your bag. Yeah, who knew all the things you can track? We're thinking our AirPods, our dogs. You track your bag, and then you know if it's made it on the plane with you or not. Of course, if it doesn't,
then you're stressed.
There's a whole lot you can do about it.
Right.
But at least you know where it's at. And this happened to me, so I'll tell you the story of how I finally learned how to do carry-on only. So when we were in our early 20s, we went on a big trip to Europe. And it was going to be a multi-step trip. So we went into Copenhagen and then we were going into Hamburg, Germany, and Dresden, Germany, and Prague. And we got into Copenhagen. We were with 2 other friends. And I had this like very blonde moment, even though I wasn't blonde then. And I looked around. I'm like, hey, we all got our bags. And everybody looks at me and they were like, except for you, you didn't get your bag. And I was like, oh, no. And so the rest of our trip in Europe, my bag followed us around because it got into Copenhagen, but we were already in Hamburg, and then got in Hamburg and we were already in Dresden. And so all I had was my makeup in my personal bag, which was great because like if you feel like you have your face on, you kind of feel like you can accomplish anything. And then I wore a pair of my husband's pants, and then I ended up like buying a couple shirts and like some underwear while I was there. But I learned that I, being high maintenance, could survive this long 10-day trip in Europe. And it was actually incredibly freeing for me to not have to worry about lugging around all of the stuff. Also not having to worry every day, like, what am I going to wear? The answer was already there. And there's a lot of 5-story walk-ups in Europe, and my friends were all dragging their bags up, and all I had was my little crossbody. I'm like, oh, I'm fine. So that we did, moral of the story, we did end up getting the bag back, but not till like a week or 2 after we got back to the US. And it taught me that I was very capable of packing light if I wanted to, but also that carrying on ensures that you will always have your bag when you arrive, which was very important for me going forward, that I would always have my bag.
So take us through that. That is a great story and a great reason to have made the switch to carry on only. But talk to us. Okay, we get it. You cheated. You put a few things in your husband's bag. But what is in your bag? Okay, you're going for a week to 10 days. What's going in that bag?
All right. So I pack a lot of versatile essentials and things that you can dress up or dress down. We love to be spontaneous, so we do not always over schedule what we're doing. So I always have maybe a couple workout leggings in there because we're really active. We're going on walks, we're going on runs. We might do yoga in the room or find a gym. You can also use those leggings to dress up or down if you have like a long button-up shirt and you want to use it, as a tunic over top of those. So sometimes I end up wearing the leggings, sometimes I don't, but they're pretty light. I will generally have something like a little black dress or a black jumpsuit or black jeans, things that you can pop a heel on, or some red lipstick and throw your hair back and something simple. And all of a sudden you've really elevated your look and become very, very chic without having to go over the top and overdressing for the occasion. So anything when I'm packing, I'm always thinking, what all could I use this one thing for? If I'm taking like a chambray button up top, that can also be my third piece. So I'm always looking for ways to mix and match and wear that one thing multiple different ways. Also, I only ever do 3 pair of shoes. I usually do some kind of slip-on shoe, like a flip-flop. I usually do, and that can, potentially be dressed up or down. I usually do a tennis shoe, and then I will do like maybe one dressier shoe. Now, one thing that I've discovered, and you may have seen me cover this on my social media, is the passion footwear. And these are amazing because you can take the heels off and
I've seen
flats. You can put them back on, and they actually work, and they're actually really comfortable. So I've switched all my travel shoes to the passion, and they actually do boots too. And so depending on, if it's summer or winter, I'll do a sandal or I'll do a boot, and I switch those out accordingly. I'm always wearing neutrals, like you said, Christine. And so that helps a lot with, being able to feel appropriate for wherever you're at, as well as having a versatile, very chic wardrobe.
Well, I have to ask the professional traveler about those cubes. I have tried to use those cubes. I can't tell you how many different times I've tried, and it just doesn't work. So then I try the roll method. That works better. That definitely works better.
Yeah.
But then I always end up going back to where I just, have outfit sets and I pack them together. And what is the real way you should pack a suitcase?
So I think it really comes down to fundamentally real estate, right? You can pack whatever you want as long as it fits in the real estate that you have. And that's why my boundaries are I only have the 3 bags, I only have the 3 shoes. So if you can pack it and it fits, great, good for you. So I do use packing cubes. I like the expandable ones because then you can compress them down and make them smaller. If you come back with a little bit more, you can expand it if you want. I like the cubes because I can keep these are all my outfits together, or like all my shirts or my pants, or these are my workouts and my swimsuits. It just helps me organize. And I'll actually take those cubes out and stick them straight in the drawer wherever I go instead of unpacking them. So then it's already organized and ready to go and I can easily pull it out, with the exception of maybe like dresses or things that I need to hang up in a wardrobe when I get there. But I like that it's easy. And then when it's time to pack it all up, I zip it up, put it straight back in the bag, and it's a lot faster for me. So I think most professional travelers do the rolling method and do use packing cubes. And especially if you're traveling with a family and you do happen to be bringing a bigger bag, not a carry-on, a lot of families will use a cube per family member.
Well, that's funny.
Very useful.
You did bring that up, the family. So your kids, obviously, Christine and I, our kids are grown. Packing is on them. In fact, with the holidays, it's fun to think about luggage as actually a great gift for young adults. It's a great gift. One of my favorite gifts I ever gave at Christmas a few years ago was a pink dolly that I gave to my daughter. And she was like, "What is this?" And I said, well, you know what? Everybody's going to want to be friends with the girl with the pink dolly when it's time to pack in and out of your dorms. Everybody's going to want to know you.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, luggage makes for really great gifts for young adults. Put that somewhere in your brain. But your kids aren't broaching, they're high school, middle school, right? Am I right?
Yes. So London's in 2nd grade and she's 7. And then Sienna will be 13 in February and she's in 7th grade. And they do pack for themselves. Sometimes we might get there and then there might be a lack of shorts or pants or shoes. I try to check on their stuff before we leave, but they like to pack for themselves. So I generally I'll just remind them now, like, hey, don't forget a swimsuit, don't forget underwear. And they do, but they have their own carry-on bags. And so when we go, we're like this cute little family of 4 with all of us with our carry-on bags and our backpack or tote. And they're still learning. They definitely buck the system a little bit because they want to change clothes 3 times a day. And you know what we have done before when I've packed for them and they felt like I didn't pack enough for them. Fortunately, we were staying at like an Airbnb where you could just wash the clothes. So one thing that I try to teach when I'm trying to teach my packing methods is not just, okay, here's how to pack, but like, what are the solutions if you hit a pitfall? Because that will help take care of your anxiety. And that's really what causes us to overpack, right? It's like, I'm not going to be ready. I'm not going to have enough. I'm not going to be appropriate, or maybe just packing last minute. And so if I can help you with some of those solutions of like, you're not gonna overpack, because when you get there, I mean, are you going to a developing world or like a developed world? Because we know the developed world, you can just buy it. Maybe you don't want to spend your travel money on that, but like you can buy it. But also like, these are some possible solutions. Can you wash your clothes? Can you do this? Can you do that? So that's one thing that I try to teach as well.
What about special toiletry items that you set aside so that you're carrying just the little tiny things? I know Christine has a travel bag ready to go. I could say, hey, we're leaving for Croatia in 1 hour. And she, even though she wouldn't do this ever, because she's ready a week before, but she could grab a travel bag that has everything, chargers and
everything.
Shampoos,
I have everything set so that all I have to do is put it in a bag and go. And I never touch the hanging toiletry bag, because when you take something out of it, you always forget to put it back in there. So I keep everything ready to go in a hanging toiletry bag in my closet. But
that's perfect.
I was going to say though, that's easy to pack up. For me, it's more like learning these little tips that she's giving about the shoes, about how to use the cubes properly. And I have one really important question, a debate between me and my husband. And that is, how early should you get to the airport? And Amy, we've been friends for a long time, so I'm winking.
Okay, so do you have TSA pre-check?
We both have TSA pre-check.
Okay. So if you have TSA pre-check and you're checked in and you don't have to stop and check your bag, I think an hour before, if it's not an international flight, an hour before is usually fine. However, if you have to check a bag, if you don't have TSA pre-check, if it's the holidays, you certainly want to pad some extra time on there. So an hour and a half to 2 hours if you have those additional curveballs.
Thank you, Amy. Hun, I hope you're listening to my podcast.
It's sad, but
you're welcome.
Sometimes married people have to have a podcast to make their points.
Yes.
So
listen, I feel your pain because my husband is always right. And so you have to take your wins where you can get them.
Exactly.
But I loved what you were saying about having that bag ready. That's how I do as well. I have a toiletry bag that's always ready. Happens to be my on-air bag too. So I just take it with me to do my makeup. So I have everything TV ready. Like my makeup is all there. I always
really
have
smart.
that travel bag ready. Yeah. And then it's ready to go. And I know I'll have exactly when I travel what I use anytime I'm creating content or on TV. And it's not a lot, actually. It's a lot less than what you think it would be. But in the similar fashion that you prepare your travel toiletry bag and you never touch it, what do you think about creating like a travel uniform? Like, this is what I wear when I travel. I have, a third piece. I have a black jumpsuit. I have these 3 shoes that I always bring. I have, these things. And that way it's very simple, like grab and go. And that's one of the reasons I've started my little online boutique, Passport Philosophy, because I want it to be a place where people can go to start building those travel essentials. There are things you can wear anytime, but they're definitely things that are like, this is my travel uniform, to the point that like, if you wanted to just put it in a bag and always keep it in that bag when you go to pack, you're like, oh, my travel uniform is already in there. And then here's a couple extra things. There's my toiletry bag and we're ready to go. And it makes it very quick and seamless and like no anxiety.
That's so cool. We'll put that in our show notes because I know that went by really fast. It's called what? Passport Philosophy?
Passport Philosophy.
Love it.
Yeah, so that's my little online boutique you can see on my website.
So the thing about Amy is, so she travels and we've said before, because we know that you guys are listening all over the world, and we love that. We happen to be based in Jacksonville, Florida. Amy now lives in Tampa, but was in Jacksonville for quite some time. And she is an author too. So tell us a little bit about the challenge of being an author, a published author, and what you're working on right now, which while the book itself is centered around Jacksonville, the experience you're having is certainly something everyone can at least, I don't know if we can all relate to being an author, but we can certainly learn from it.
Yeah, just the process of being an author, like what it was like. Is that the question? I want to make sure I got the question right.
Yeah. So what's your latest book? The first one was 100 Things to Do in Jacksonville Before You Die. This next one, I know it's a scavenger hunt. Oh, you have it there. So congratulations.
I do. Thank you. Yeah. So the book launch is actually happening this week in Jacksonville. I'll be up. So this is a scavenger hunt, and my first book was 100 Things to Do in Jacksonville Before You Die. So that was great. I was able to compile all my favorite things about Jacksonville. This was a different book for me because it was actually about going out and discovering more of Jacksonville in all its neighborhoods. So if I would say there was something like a really big picture that anybody can relate to, it's about getting out into your backyard, but like beyond your comfort zone. And so this covers like 24 neighborhoods. I think I went through over 300 locations. I did 360 total, but they didn't all make it in the book. But I have lived in Jacksonville prior to moving this summer for 32 years. And there were places that I visited in this book, and I had to go and take pictures of all of them that I had maybe heard about for years, but had never dreamed of. And so it's great proof that if you love to travel, you love to adventure, you love to explore, don't outrule your hometown. Don't outrule the kind of adventures and fun things that you can get into, especially living in Jacksonville. It's like that people come there to vacation, and you tend to take for granted what's in your own backyard. So this was a really fun opportunity to dig in deep. I had some good quality time driving around the whole city with my daughter and my husband, and they helped me with pictures when we were driving around. And so it was good quality time there. And it's pretty exciting. Just now I can definitely say I'm a Jaxpert, not just a travel expert. I'm a Jacksonville expert because there's so many places in the city now that I have physically gone to and put boots on the ground. So it was really fun.
And they have these kinds of books for a lot of different cities. So maybe your job is, if you're listening in Philadelphia or you're listening in somewhere near Boston, you can look online, type in scavenger hunt, these kinds of books exist out there for you wherever you live. What a great gift. It's a great
really
gift.
Good gift.
Terrific gift. Yeah. And this is through Reedy Press, and they do all the different cities. So actually Tampa Bay, where I just moved to, they had already had somebody do that. And what's fun is a lot of them are doing what I do. They're doing like a little prize package. So I have like a challenge associated with it. And as a gift, how fun would it be if you got this for like your kids or your significant other and said, okay, in 2023, that's what we're coming up on, let's go out, spend the whole year solving all the riddles in this book. And the first person that solves mine is going to get this trophy. Or you could do it as a team with your coworkers, but any person that solves it will have like a little achievement medal. And so it's a fun way to like spend quality time with someone, get to know your city, and just challenge yourself to kind of get out of your comfort zone and have a little bit of fun.
Idea.
Such a great idea. Good. So Amy, no doubt, has given you a lot to think about. And the good news is we are going to put all of the information to find Amy in our show notes. But just right off the bat, what's the quickest way? Where can everybody like really just find you right now?
Yeah. All my things are at amywesttravel.com. And on social media, you can also find me at Amy West Travel, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the places.
She is all the places.
Right.
No doubt. I know I've learned a lot just from listening to you talk about it. It makes me want to be a better traveler. Like,
I'm impressed.
I'm so impressed. So there's more. There's more. So we'd love to have you back sometime in the near future, Amy. Amy West, amywesttravel.com.
I'll be a regular.
Let's do it. So for everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in today to the podcast. Please leave us a review. We would love if you could do that. It really does help. And you can find us too on all of the socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We have a Facebook group. Am I leaving anything out? Uncluttered and Unfiltered.
Uncluttered and Unfiltered. You can find us everywhere.
And get on our mailing list too. And Amy West, thank you. And here's how we say goodbye, Amy. Until next time, we would love for you to let it go.
And don't look back.
Love it.